We like to think we control our own lives, that morality is real, and that our choices matter. But what if everything we believe is just an illusion? Today, we're exploring 4 of Nietzsche's most controversial paradoxes, ideas so radical that they challenge the very foundation of morality, power, and free will.
I'm Alara, and I have one job today, to ask the hard questions. If these paradoxes don't make sense, trust me, I won't let them slide.
And I'm Dr. Victor. I've spent years studying Nietzsche's philosophy, and I promise, once you see the logic behind these paradoxes, you might start questioning everything you thought was true.
And trust me, the last paradox might just change the way you see morality forever. Ever had déjà vu, like you've lived this exact moment before? What if I told you that you actually have, and you will again, forever?
Okay, explain this to me like I'm 5. Nietzsche says that if time is infinite and matter is finite, then every single event, including my life, must repeat forever. That means I've already had this conversation before, and I'll have it again an infinite number of times? That sounds less like philosophy and more like a glitch in the Matrix. If my life is just a loop, does that mean I have no real choices? Am I just playing the same movie on repeat?
It's not just about time looping, it's about how you live your life. Nietzsche wasn't saying eternal recurrence is definitely real. He was asking, what if it were? If you knew that every choice you made would be repeated forever, would you still make the same decisions? Would you live differently, knowing that every regret, every mistake, every triumph would happen again, exactly the same way?
Wait, so this isn't about proving time is a loop? It's a mental experiment? That's even worse. If this is a test, then I've already failed it 1,000,000 times. If I'm stuck reliving my life, that makes everything feel pointless. Like, why bother making better choices if they're already set in stone?
That's exactly the challenge. If this idea depresses you, that might mean you're not living a life you'd be happy repeating. But if it inspires you, it means you're living fully. Nietzsche's paradox forces you to ask, would I say yes to this life exactly as it is forever? If the answer is no, then maybe it's time to start living differently.
So what you're saying is, eternal recurrence isn't about destiny. It's about responsibility. Like, if I knew my choices were permanent, I'd take them more seriously. That's actually terrifying. It makes every tiny action feel way bigger. But here's the real question. If everything already repeats forever, do I even have free will? Or am I just going through motions I already made 1,000 times?
That's the part that makes people panic. If everything repeats, does that mean free will is an illusion? Or does it mean free will matters more than ever? Because every action echoes infinitely. But if you think that's unsettling, wait until we get to the next paradox, where Nietzsche argues that morality itself is just a trick to keep people weak.
So, if your life is repeating forever, would you change how you live? And if morality is just a tool of control, should we rethink what's right and wrong? Let's find out. We're taught that kindness and humility make us better people. But what if morality is just a tool for the weak to control the strong?
All right, now you're really messing with my head. Nietzsche says that the ultimate drive in life isn't happiness, survival, or even love. It's power. And that real power comes from rejecting traditional morality. So what? Being kind, humble, or selfless is just a trick to keep powerful people in check. That makes it sound like everything we believe about being good is just a scam.
It's not that morality is a scam, it's that morality is often used as a weapon. Nietzsche argued that the strongest people, those who create, lead, and shape the world, don't follow imposed morality. Instead, they make their own values. Meanwhile, the weak who lack power create moral rules that glorify humility, obedience, and self-sacrifice, because those values benefit them. It's not about good versus evil. It's about who's in control.
Wait, are you saying that morality is just a survival strategy? Like, if someone is physically weak or powerless, they have no choice but to convince stronger people to play by a set of moral rules, rules designed to make them less threatening? That sounds disturbingly logical but also kind of terrifying. Does this mean people who reject morality are actually stronger?
Not necessarily. Rejecting morality doesn't mean becoming a tyrant. It means refusing to let other people define your values. The will to power isn't about violence or cruelty. It's about creating your own path instead of following someone else's. But here's where it gets interesting. If most people blindly follow morality without questioning it, does that mean true power belongs only to those willing to break the rules?
So if I understand this correctly, the strongest people don't just obey morality, they rewrite it. But that makes me wonder, what if someone takes this idea too far? If morality is just a human invention, what's stopping people from using power in a completely selfish or destructive way? If good and evil aren't real, what's stopping society from falling into chaos?
That's the danger of the will to power. It's an invitation to take control of your own morality, but it's also a test. Some people use power to create, while others use it to destroy. But that brings us to Nietzsche's most unsettling paradox. If God is dead and morality has no divine foundation, why do people still act as if moral values are sacred?
So, if morality is just a tool for control, does that mean it's all just an illusion? And if we've killed God, why do we still cling to morality like it's absolute truth? Let's find out. God is dead, but we still act like he's watching. If morality isn't divine, why do we still believe in right and wrong?
Okay, so Nietzsche said, God is dead and we have killed him. But people still believe in morality, justice, and purpose. If God is really dead, why do we still act like moral values are absolute? It's like saying the foundation is gone, but the house is still standing. How does that make any sense?
That's the paradox. Nietzsche didn't just mean that people stopped believing in God. He meant that the entire structure of meaning, morality, and truth that came with God should have collapsed. But instead of facing that reality, people continue acting as if moral laws are divine. It's like a puppet show where the puppeteer is gone, but the puppets keep moving.
So, people don't actually believe in God anymore, but they still follow religious morality without questioning it? That's kind of creepy. It's like we're stuck in some kind of automatic loop. But if moral values aren't rooted in anything divine, doesn't that mean we can just rewrite them however we want?
Exactly. That's the terrifying part. Without a divine foundation, morality isn't set in stone. We have two choices. We either create new values or we fall into nihilism, where nothing matters. Nietzsche warned that most people would take the easy way out, clinging to outdated morals instead of forging new meaning for themselves.
So basically, we're standing at a cliff edge, and Nietzsche is saying, jump, create your own path. But most people are too scared, so they keep pretending the ground is still there. That's unsettling. But it also makes me wonder, if people are too afraid to create their own values, does that mean morality was always just a form of comfort?
Bingo. For centuries, morality gave people certainty, a sense that life had meaning and structure. But once God is gone, those structures are exposed as human-made. The real challenge is, can we live without them? And that brings us to Nietzsche's most dangerous paradox. What if morality itself was created not out of truth, but out of weakness?
So if we killed God, why do we still act like he's watching? And if morality is just a human invention, does that mean power, not goodness, defines what's right? Let's find out. We praise kindness, humility, and selflessness. But what if those values were created to keep powerful people in check?
All right, so now you're telling me that morality itself was invented by weak people to control the strong. That sounds like a villain's origin story. Are you saying all the things we've been taught, being kind, selfless, humble, are just traps to make sure powerful people don't take over? Because that's a pretty dark way to look at morality.
It is dark, but Nietzsche wasn't trying to justify cruelty. He was exposing how moral systems are shaped by power struggles. He argued that there are two kinds of morality: master morality, created by the strong, and slave morality, created by the weak. Master morality values strength, ambition, and independence, while slave morality values humility, obedience, and suffering. The problem? Slave morality became dominant because the weak convinced the strong that their values were virtuous.
So let me get this straight. The powerful used to make their own rules, but then the weak came along and said, no, strength is bad, humility is good. And somehow the strong actually fell for it? That makes no sense. Why would powerful people accept a morality that works against them?
Because morality doesn't change overnight, it evolves over time. Nietzsche argued that over centuries, religious and social systems reinforced the idea that suffering is noble and power is corrupt. Eventually, even powerful people were raised under these beliefs, and they started to internalize them. Think about it. Most leaders today don't see themselves as rulers enforcing their own will. They see themselves as servants of the people. That's slave morality winning.
Wait, are you saying that people in power today aren't actually in power? They're just playing by a morality that was designed to limit them? That's wild, but here's what I don't get. If slave morality is so powerful, does that mean nobody is truly free? Are we all trapped in moral rules that were designed to control us?
That's the real paradox. Morality, once a tool of the weak, became so ingrained that even the strong obey it. But Nietzsche's challenge is this. If you recognize that morality is a construct, do you have the courage to break free from it? Or will you keep following rules made by others? Because if morality is just another form of control, then the real question isn't what's good or evil, it's who decides.
So, if morality is just a tool, does that mean we've been following the wrong rules all along? And more importantly, if power defines morality, who really controls the world? Let us know in the comments. And if paradoxes like this blow your mind, click on the next video. Because trust me, there's plenty more reality-breaking ideas waiting for you.